This trip began in 2008 when a Princeton professor and a group of students came to Ashaiman to see what the conditions were like and what people in the community needed. And they made their way to the Evangelical Presbyterian Church and School complex, and after some discussion decided that a partnership to build a library, a community library, would be helpful for both the school and the surrounding community. So in 2009, a group of students came to pour the foundation and do the major concrete work, the ring beam and the columns. And then this summer, we've come back to finish up what they started, to do all of the rest of the structural work, to move in books, to move in a computer system, add lighting, add ventilation, and turn what was kind of a shell of a building into a complete and functioning community library.
It's not good enough just to build the library and leave. We actually have to educate the community and train them on how to maintain the resources, how to best use the resources. So actually a majority of the project is spent outside of Ghana, actually in the US, in Princeton University, because that's where all of the planning takes place. The implementation trip is more of a culmination of a year of hard work.
We've had a great group of students working with us many of whom didn't get to travel with us this summer. Just planning out the intricacies of the project, making sure that we knew what materials we would need, making sure that our construction partners knew what was expected of them and kind of getting names and recommendations. And then a lot of the major works and structural issues had been worked out in previous years, was making sure we really had a good idea for how the library was going to run and how we were going to make the books accessible to the community. So that was an organization system, a labeling system, and the layout of the library.
So we mostly discussed how the library should be run and like how a starting up library should start working. And we made the major decisions throughout the year. And then after we came here, we discussed it with the school members who are actually the owner of the library, it's not us. And we finalized on the rules of the library and how it will be operated.
And so we were trying to come up with some educational activities that kids could do in the library, but also that maybe adults could do. And then we were sort of trying to balance it so that we get a full spectrum of ages represented in the activities. We have a book now that's a collection of activities that either the librarian can lead or a volunteer from the PTA or from the community.
As one of the components of our project, we are outfitting the library with, I guess, a small computer network, and it's made up of OLPCs. And OLPC stands for one laptop per child, and it's basically a small children's-sized laptop that's pretty interactive, very hardy and durable, and also very cheap so that it can be implemented in developing countries like Ghana. So my expectations for this trip were really to just get a lot of hands-on experience with basic forms of construction that you usually don't see at Princeton or get exposed to during any of the engineering classes.
I wanted to see how a construction worked out like in another country, so that was a really good experience to see. I know things don't work out the same way they do in the US or in Turkey, the way they work out here, so it was really interesting to see. I think I like this way better since you communicate with like every individual a lot more than just hand them a piece of paper and then never see them again.
So I was really surprised upon arriving in Ashaiman that although the area is relatively impoverished, there's a lot of materials available, there's a lot of skilled labor, and we've had great contractors to help us with our work. Our masons, our carpenters, our electricians have all been really good, and all the materials that they need have been readily available in the area, so that surprised me a lot.
I enjoyed a lot spending time with our construction workers and helping them out, mixing mortar, talking to them. So we took part in like every single brick, and I was there when they were all being put. So it was a good experience to see it being all built.
My favorite thing has been seeing the drawings that we did back at school come to life and really take form on the construction site.
I really like working just on the construction of the building. Not necessarily hands-on construction, although that is fun, but just being involved with the decisions that are made about, whether to put a column here or to not put a column here, whether we need this many trusses, this many purlins, those kind of decisions. It's just hands-on engineering work, and that's a lot of fun.
My favorite part was probably lifting the trusses because it really took a lot of people, and we didn't use cranes or anything, but we got them off the ground, and that was the first real construction that we did since we've been here this year, so that was really fun to see.
It's been really, really interesting to see how a construction project actually happens. It's really different than anything you would learn in a class, and it's really different than something you'd see on TV, to actually be on a construction site and see a building go from bare foundation to a complete structure that you can see behind me right now. So that was really informative, it was really fun, and it was really exciting to be able to see a building progress from bare minimum to finished in 2 months.
We had time to have fun too, so that was really good. We had trips, we had great group dynamics, and we got the chance to hang out with Ghanaians and see new places, as well as spend time on the project. So I think that made the experience better since we learned more about Ghana in general.
Overall, I think we've been pretty adventurous on this trip. We've gotten out and traveled around Ghana a little bit. We've seen the villages of our host family, the Achus, and we've seen the village of the pastor. We also went on a trip with some of the teachers to the western region, where we saw Nzu Lenzo, which is a village on stilts, as well as a slave castle in Cape Coast, and a canopy walk, a suspended canopy walk in Cocoon National Park.
During these past 8 weeks, we've actually been living with a family. So basically, as soon as we get back, we're basically immersed in the culture.
We'll have different visitors drop by every evening and play cards with us or watch TV with us, and we've really gotten to learn a lot about their views on American culture as well as Ghanaian culture and world views, and it's really great talking to all of them. And the Achus have been so welcoming, and they're helping us try all the different types of Ghanaian food, and we couldn't have asked for a better host family. Everyone who we've gotten to know personally has been really excellent and really nice people. The church community especially has been so grateful and appreciative of our contribution to their community. One of my favorite parts was working with the kids. So what we did was, with the laptops that we brought, many of the kids were unfamiliar with computers in general, but all of them were unfamiliar with the specific laptops we had brought. So we went into each class and gave each child a laptop and taught them how to use the basic functions, a couple of the activities, the ones we thought would be most useful for them, and they really enjoyed taking pictures of themselves with the laptops, and I really enjoyed teaching them how to use it and seeing the excitement on their faces when they could take a picture of themselves and then put it into a document and save it.
The community in general, I think we did a good job of interacting with them. Like the school children, we tried to do activities with all of them, so they knew who we were, why we were here, and we tried to get them excited about the library and what will be inside the library. And then the school teachers and the administrators were really helpful with us. We tried to make the major decisions with them since it's their library, it's not ours. So I think we did a good job in doing that, and I had a lot of fun.
It's really nice to come to a place where you're not too familiar with the customs and you're not necessarily as sure of yourself as you are in your hometown or in your home country. And it's nice to have people there who are willing to help you and willing to show you things, and who are patient. So it's been really good to have them. We have the administration at the school have been nothing but supportive of the project. They help us make decisions. I think it's a very fair balance of decision making and sort of the balance of power in the project.
I think one of the major challenges was making sure that everything was accounted for in construction. There's so many small details that you have to work out that you don't necessarily think about when you're at school. For example, what type of locks are you going to get? What type of paint color are you going to get? What are the windows going to be like? Do you need security mesh on the windows? Things like that, that are small decisions, small purchases, but are really necessary for making a complete building. It's not just 4 walls and a roof. There's a lot of other things that go into it.
We haven't encountered too many challenges on our trip. I'd say one of the main ones would be making everything work on time and getting all the carpenters to be here on time and working, and the masons on time and working well with each other.
We had an initial schedule that we thought we were going to follow, but it's construction, and sometimes it didn't work out the way we expected it to, but we managed to work our way around it and get everything done on time.
My favorite part about this implementation trip was probably learning how to problem solve while on the field. So during the year, we try to plan the designs, taking into account everything that can happen, but even when you do that, there are a million more things that can go wrong. My favorite part was learning from the engineers, the professional engineers, how to solve problems with the constraints of doing construction in Ghana, and also with whatever resources you have available.
So you make sure that you have a plan to start out with, but then once you get on ground, you have to be ready to change it when what you expected isn't there.
Engineers have to be flexible, that's what I learned, especially if you're working in a country you haven't worked in before. You have to learn first. You can't just assume what you've seen is going to work out there, so you have to be flexible. And I think when I become an engineer, I can do that, and I think it makes you grow and become a better engineer to see how it's done differently, because it opens up your mind to new things.
I think that this trip will have a lot of impacts. It's definitely a unique experience to be able to come into a place, really experience it, get to know people in the community, and leave a mark on that community, something that I think will really impact them in the future and really help Ashaiman develop.
I think our project will provide a large amount of people with access to reading materials, education, storybooks that they didn't have before. So I think I'll take away from this trip definitely a better understanding of how life operates in a developing country.
Before coming on the trip, I was planning on being an environmental engineering major, but now having worked on the actual structural aspects and design of a building, I think I'm more interested in structural engineering than environmental engineering. So at least in that regard, I've sort of specified my focus a little bit more.
I think being on ground in a development project raises a lot of questions about how to go about doing international aid. What are the shortcomings, what are the pitfalls, and what are the successes? And I think that this trip will really inform a lot of what I do in the future with regards to international development.
I've learned that I really like to travel, and I really want to do more traveling in my life. It's really great to experience a completely new culture for a while. One of my goals was to completely immerse myself in the culture and experience a lot of new things, which I think I accomplished, especially with trying new foods and being open to new ways of life and doing things differently. And I think we've all done a really great job of living in Ghana as Ghanaians, not as Americans. Another of my goals was to be really involved with the construction aspect of the project and know what was going on every step of the way. And I think we've all really accomplished that really well. We've all talked to the engineer, talked to the carpenters, talked to the electrician, gone with them to buy supplies. So we really know what's going on at the project. It's not like we just hired people and they're doing whatever they want. We're really involved with every step of the way.
Spending time away from the U.S., at least for me, it makes me want to come back more. I'm more excited to start school again in the fall. And I had the same experience the last time I came to Ghana, where I was excited to be studying again and to be learning again. The project has gone really, really smoothly, I think. Of course, there have been some obstacles, some problems that we had to deal with, but I think overall it went really, really well. The building's completed. That's really exciting, yeah. So I'm really happy that the project has turned out so well.
So we've really, I think, experienced a lot of what Ghana has to offer, even though we were only here for 2 months and a lot of our time was spent on site. I think we were able to really make the most of this experience.
I think we were a great group. I had a great time, and everybody should have a similar experience, I think.